Okay, so the first thing you guys are gonna do, the foldable you guys have is a flat sheet like this. You guys are gonna fold it in half so that um, the title is like this, and then you can open it up like so. So make sure you fold it this way, and on the top it says variables on the same side, and then on the bottom it says variables on both sides. So if we open it up, the first example is of what happens when the variables are on the same side. So we have 3x minus 4 plus 2x equals 36. So whenever you have a situation like this, we have x's here and x's here, we combine those x's. So 3x and 2x is 5x. We do not combine the negative 4 with this 3 and this 2 because this is 3x and 2x, and that's just an integer. So we combine the two like terms, the two ones with the same variable, and then we bring down the integer. So 5x minus 4 is equal to 36. And then of course we solve this like a two-step equation. We add 4, and so this ends up being 5x is equal to 40. And then we divide by 5, so x is equal to 8. And so that's essentially what we've been doing. We've been doing equations with variables on one side, all the variables on the same side. So for instance, here we have 12x and negative 3x. And mostly you've been getting just 1x, but anytime they give you like two variables or two like terms on the same side, we just combine them. So like 12x and negative 3x is 9x. And then the plus 9 and the plus 5, that's positive 9, positive 5. So plus 14 is equal to a negative 49. And then we just solve it. We go ahead and subtract 14. Subtract 14. So we end up with 9x is equal to a negative 63. Then we divide by 9, x is equal to a negative 7. Okay, so again, if they're all on the same side, you just, like, if they give you multiple variables on the same side, or two coefficients and variables and they're the same variable, then you just combine them. So like 12x and negative 3x are the same type of number because they both have an x. So we combine those and it ends up being 9x. Then we combine the integers, 9 and 5, and we got 14. So 9x plus 14 equals the negative 49. We subtract 14, that gives us 9x is equal to a negative 63. Divide by 9, and we get our solution. So we have another one here. We have 3x plus 5, and then parentheses x minus 2 equals 14. So the first thing we do is we distribute. We distribute the 5 times the x, and then the 5 times negative 2. So what we end up with is 3x plus 5x, because 5 times x is 5x, and then 5 times a negative 2 is a negative 10. So 5x minus 10 equals 14. And now that we have that laid out, we combine the like terms, the 3x and the 5x. They're the same type of number because of the x. So I make that 8x minus 10 is equal to 14. I then add 10. So 8x equals 24. Divide by 8. X is equal to 3. So anytime we're given, anytime they give you like multiple x's or multiple numbers with the same variable on the same side, you just combine them. And then once you combine them, you get that number here, If you're given if you're given two integers, you combine those, and like 9 and 5 is 14, so we got that number there. So you just combine the numbers. So for the summary, we can say always combine like terms. You can also write in anything else you want to remind yourself about solving these three equations. So your job right now is to pause the video, and then I want you to write about things you need to remind yourself whenever you're doing the math and have to combine those like terms. Okay, so again, your job right now is to pause the video and write down in this summary box things you need to write down to remind you of the steps it takes to solve problems like these. Okay, so these three types of problems, those are examples of the 7th grade TEK, or the 7th grade standard, in which you guys were supposed to learn how to solve a two-step equation. And so even though we have to combine, it's still a two-step equation here. 9x plus 14 equals negative 49. That's a two-step equation. The first step is to subtract, add or subtract, and then the second step is to multiply or divide. In this case, we divide it, and we get our answer. In 8th grade, 4, 5, and 6, these are the 8th grade types of problems. And with these, you solve them a bit differently. The first thing you need to do is draw a line down the middle. And so this line is like a mirror. Okay, so whenever numbers cross this line, the sign flips. And what I mean by that is, if this 4x is positive 4x, if I move it across that equal sign, it becomes a negative 4x. And that's important. So the way I like to think of it is we get all of the x's, all of the variables to the left. Okay, so you want to put all variables on the left side of the equation. Okay, so you want to get all of the x's to your left. You want your x's to the left, right? And so what that means is that over here on the right side, I have this 4x. I want this 4x to go to the left. And so the way I like to think of it is like, this 4x is positive. It's a positive 4x. So let's say you're sitting in my class and you like where you sit. Like, you're positive about where you sit. But I make you get up and move. Like, you're talking too much, so you got to get up and move. Well, in that new seat, you're not going to be as positive. You probably turn negative because you don't like where you sit now. And so that's the same thing that happens with these numbers. If this 4x is positive, it likes where it's at, and I move it, then it's going to flip. It's going to now be negative. So what happens is I take this negative 2x and I say we're going to add this negative 4x. Negative 4x. And then I want these single numbers or integers, single numbers, aka integers, to the right. And so same thing here. This 15 is positive about where it's at, but I make it move. And so it crosses over the equal sign to the right, and now it becomes a negative 15 plus this 39. So again, I know this is your first time seeing it, so it's a bit confusing. We move the 4x over to the left side. We want all of our variables on the left. When I do that, this goes from a negative 4x, from a positive 4x to a negative 4x. And so we have negative 2x plus this negative 4x. I could have also written negative 2x minus 4x, either way. And so then we took this plus 15. We want all the single numbers or the integers. We want those to the right. So you take this positive 15, you move it across this mirror line, and what happens is it flips. It goes from being positive to now it's negative. Okay, so it's negative 15 plus that 39. That's a single number. That's a single number. That's an integer, right? Those are two of the same things. And then over here we have the x's. Those are two of the same things. And then we just combine them like we did up here. So we have the negative 2 plus a negative 4. That's a negative 6x equals. And then we have a negative 15 plus 39. And that's a S24, positive 24. So now we have negative 6x equals 24. And then from here, I solve it by dividing by negative 6, dividing by negative 6. So x is equal to a negative 4. Okay, so same deal on number 5. I have 13 minus 5 is equal to 10x plus 37 minus 4x. So the first thing we need to do on this side is combine these two like terms. And so we'll rewrite it as 13x minus 5 is equal to 10x minus 4x is 6x plus that 37. And then now I draw the line. I want my x's to the left, so this 6x I want to come over here. And then this negative 5 is an integer, single number. I want it to the right. And so what happens is this 6x is positive about where it is. I make it move. Now it's negative. 13x plus that negative 6x. It's mad. It didn't want to move. However, this negative 5, it really hates where it's at right now. It would be like a student saying, sir, I really hate where I sit. Can I move? And I say, you know what? Yes, go ahead and move. So now when this negative 5 moves across this line, it becomes positive. And then we add the 37. So we have 13x plus a negative 6x is equal to 5 plus 37. So 13x plus a negative 6, 13 plus a negative 6 is really 13 minus 6, which is 7x equals. And then we have 5 plus 37 is 42. And so we divide by 7, x is equal to 6. Okay, and then on number 6, if you have to distribute, so we just do that first. You always do distribution first. So negative 7 times x is negative 7x, and then negative 7 times a negative 1 is a positive 7. So we add 7, and then on the other side we have a negative 5 times x, that is a negative 5x. Then we have negative 5 times negative 5, that is a positive 25. And so now we draw a line down the middle. We get this negative 5. We want to bring that over the line here. I'm going to move that to the left. We want all the x's to the left, all the variables to the left. And then this plus 7, we're going to move that to the right. And again, whenever something crosses that line, whenever you make it move across that line, whatever sign it is, it flips. So this negative 5 is going to become a positive 5. So it'll be negative 7x plus 5x, right? And then we have this positive 7. I make it move. Now it's upset. It's a negative 7 plus the 25. So negative 7 plus 5x is a negative 7 plus 5x is a negative 2x, and then we have negative 7 plus 25, and that equals 18. And so we divide by a negative 2, divide by a negative 2, so x is equal to a negative 9. So to recap, we want all of the variables or the x's. Usually it's an x, but any variable, all of the variables on the left side of that equation. We want all of the single numbers or the integers to the right side of that equation, and then we combine like terms, combine like terms. So 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth step is to divide. All right, and so also write down anything else you feel like you need to remind yourself as to how to do this.